Let's do it. Seattle's got the bluest sky in the country. Then there's the other 12 months of the year.
But hey, it is the coffee capital of America.
Alfred Peet was probably the key figure in the American coffee revolution of the 1960s. He was originally from Holland, and he grew up in the coffee business through his family. Like many European immigrants, he was probably shocked at the quality of the bitter black brew he experienced when he came to America instead of the style of coffee he was used to at home. And he was determined to do something about it.
When Alfred Peet opened a small coffee shop in Berkeley, California, few noticed that a revolution was brewing. His coffee was unlike anything Americans had experienced so far. Fresh Arabica beans, just as freshly roasted, producing a taste that was rich, dark, and complex. Little did Peet know that he would inspire a new wave of coffee entrepreneurs, most notably 3 buddies who went on to found the world's largest coffee corporation, Starbucks. Starbucks' humble beginnings can be traced to Seattle's Old Wharf in Pike's Public Market. Judith takes a tour around the brand's first store.
Here in this coffee house, the story of Starbucks coffee began. Though this is not just the story of coffee. This is the story of the American dream in the form of a coffee bean. From dishwasher to millionaire, from an idea to an empire. Hi there, can I get a latte, please?
Sure thing.
Latte for Judith. Thank you.
Yeah, have a great day.
So can you imagine? This is where the Starbucks empire all began. I mean, from this tiny little place. And just look how small it is. It actually used to be a farmer's market back in the early 20th century where they would roast and sell their own beans.
Starbucks has become so well known and so big that many people look at it as, you know, this huge corporate behemoth now.
The Starbucks revolution starts in 1971 in Seattle on America's West Coast, when 2 teachers and a writer, Jerry Baldwin, Zed Siegel, and Gordon Bowker, take an $8,000 loan to start selling roasted coffee beans and equipment from a tiny store in Pike's Market on the Puget Sound. Starbucks gets named after a shipmate in Melville's Moby Dick, and a mermaid is adopted as its logo. Skip ahead 10 years, and Howard Schultz becomes Starbucks' head of marketing. He's sent to Italy to sample the café culture and the delicious drink made on the espresso machine. Schultz returns to America a converted man, but he fails to convince Bowker and Baldwin that the Italian model is the future of the U.S. coffee industry. So he leaves the company in 1985 and sets up his own coffee service, aptly called Il Giornale. It proves a successful business, and his soaring profits allow him to buy up Starbucks from its founders for $3.7 million. And so, the new Starbucks is born. It becomes a public company in 1992 and starts to brew sugarized and creamy coffees and teas. It gathers inspiration from the most artisan of coffee houses that allows them to deliver tailor-made recipes to its customers, such as the Frappuccino, which it takes from the Boston Coffee Connection, and the pastries which it pockets from the Canadian Boulange bakeries. Starbucks has conquered 65 countries by opening over 23,000 stores worldwide, and so the second coffee revolution is born.
Howard Schultz was this Brooklyn kid who had street smarts. He'd read a book called The Great Good Place by Ray Oldenburg about how people needed a third place, not just home, not just work, but a place to socialize. And we were missing that in the United States. In Europe, they had the cafes. So Howard Schultz really realized that we needed a place where you weren't going to get drunk, where people from all age groups could come for a community experience, or what he came to call the Starbucks experience.
Welcome to the magical world of Starbucks in the 21st century.
You know, I think the great thing about coffee is that before specialty coffee came along, people didn't really pay attention to what was in the cup. It was just a hot black coffee. And I think what Starbucks was able to do is introduce a taste of place and an origin and more meaning behind each cup of coffee, and introduce flavors from the island of Sumatra, and introduce more than just brewed coffee. We introduced espresso to the US on a larger scale. And then we've been able to really expand that to a range of coffees, and then also a range of experiences in a place where you can gather and enjoy your coffee and get your coffee.
Recently, Starbucks has tried to join sort of the third wave, as it's called, of coffee. So Starbucks has begun to try to tap into that with Starbucks Reserve. Not only are we concerned about good coffee, but we want it to be absolutely the best coffee from a particular hillside. You want a direct contact with the people that are growing the coffee. So they're kind of jumping into this whole notion of third wave specialty coffee.
I would say the third wave revolution of coffee refers to a generation of coffee producers, roasters, artisans who are obsessed over quality at every stage of production, elevating coffee beyond a commodity into something that can really be a form of livelihood for the farmer, and also can deliver something at the end of the day which is worth that value, you know, taking it to the level of something like wine.
So, Andrew, has coffee changed America?
I think what's changed over time, especially in the States, is people are getting more and more interested in the provenance of things that they consume. We're able to, on the coffee sense, really bring to life the taste of place and the farmer who grew that coffee, and create ways in which people can interact with not just the coffee itself, but different beverage preparations. And so that, for me, is what's been so remarkable about a fruit that comes off a tree has been able to do that in the States that nobody thought possible.
In a sense, the artisan movement can be traced back to the mid-1800s, when American entrepreneurs such as Henry Nicholas Greenwell started growing their own Arabica beans in Hawaii. I meet Henry's great-grandson Thomas, who explains how the Kona coffee grown on his grandfather's land became a world leader.
By 1873, he sent coffee to the World Fair in Vienna, Austria, and he was awarded a certificate of excellence from the Kaiser of the World Fair.
Wow. Vienna at the time was the coffee capital of the world, and it had a lot of high-quality coffee. So all of a sudden, this British adventurer, more or less, entrepreneur, comes along with a couple of bags of coffee from some island, and he cops the honors at the fair.
Well, I believe that put Kona on the map.
So that's the start, basically, of the specialty coffee industry in Hawaii and then in what becomes America, from the seeds here to all over the world.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Tom continues the family tradition and grows exquisite Kona coffee on his Greenwell farm that's in such demand around the world. Ripe red cherries are picked by hand. Each tree yields about 2 pounds of green coffee beans a year from roughly 9 pounds of fruit. The fruit is thrown into a depulping machine that separates the beans from the fruit. The fruit is depulped by a spinning bladed shaft. The beans released by this process get washed in a channel or gutter of rushing water. Unripe beans float to the surface, while the heavier, mature ones sink to the bottom. The mature beans end up in a tank where they soak overnight to remove the gooey outer layer called honey and begin the fermentation process. Finally, the coffee beans are dried and raked on large flat beds.
Once the coffee beans are dried and processed, roasting transforms the green coffee beans into the aromatic brown beans that we purchase, either whole or already ground. This process, called pyrolysis, is at the heart of what produces the aroma and the flavor of the coffee we drink. Roasting is generally performed in the country which has imported the coffee, so the freshly roasted beans reach the consumer as quickly as possible. I'm meeting up with James Hoffman, the author of the World Atlas of Coffee and owner of Square Mile Coffee Roasters, a multi-award-winning company in East London. So James, where do you source your beans from?
So we source coffee from all over the world. The thing that's important to us is that it comes from ideally a small farm or a small group of growers, but also that it's freshly harvested. So different coffees harvest at different times of the year. So all year round we're looking for coffee and they're coming in here. And when they arrive as a raw seed basically. We call it green coffee because it's unroasted at this point. And then our job is to take those coffees and then to roast them, which is what's going on behind you here.
So tell me about the roasting process.
They go in these machines, and the way they work is that generally there's a drum inside them. And the job of the drum is to tumble the coffee around in the air because it's the air that's going to do the roasting. So we have these big burners in the machines that heat the air, and that hot air flows through the drum and really does most of the roasting process. And what we can do is we can smell, and we can look, and we can measure the temperature, and we can see how the coffee is roasting, just to kind of bring out the best flavors of that particular coffee.
And at what temperature are they ready to go?
And when it comes out, it's maybe 200, 210 degrees Celsius. It comes out into a cooling tray, and then we're going to try and cool that down within 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So we use air and giant fans just to sort of suck air through to cool it down.
Okay.
And then once it's nice and cool, we might then blend that coffee if that's what's going to happen, or we may not. We may keep that separate and sell it as just coffee from just one farm. It'll go off to be bagged up so it's nice and fresh, and then on to a consumer or maybe a cafe.
Great.
Most artisan cafe roasteries are independent, locally owned businesses that have a great following in their local neighborhoods, and they work hard to create a relationship with the coffee farmers they buy from. One of these is Cafe Vita. They have 9 cafes throughout the Pacific Northwest, and they have a public brewing school, that's PBS for short, as well as a comprehensive barista training program. Let's check them out. Daniel.
Hey, Dean, how's it going?
Great, man. What a place you got here.
Welcome.
I'm surfing the third wave now.
All right, welcome.
Whoa, the roasting room. This is the heart of the operation, huh?
Yeah, here it is.
Okay, what's this one over here?
This is a 12-kilo Probat.
Uh-huh. Is this, like, did you start on a machine like this?
Yeah, this is about the size of the roaster we started at. Cafe Vita started in 1995. It was founded by Mike McConnell in the Queen Anne neighborhood of Seattle.
Cool. And you're in 9 different neighborhoods around Seattle?
Yes, indeed, yeah.
Wow, cool.
Yep.
All right, now this is a big roaster. What is it?
So this is a 45-kilo Probat. This is built in the 1930s. We bought this roaster from Cafe Trieste in San Francisco.
Sure, one of the
so
oldies.
It's quite possible that Kerouac drank coffee roasted on this machine.
That's as artisanal as you can get, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. How many pounds a week do you guys do in this place?
You know, it varies between probably 30 and 40,000 pounds a week. We have customers across the United States, you know, goes to different cafes, restaurants, grocery stores, that sort of thing.
But you roast it all here?
We actually have other roasting facilities as well. Yeah, we like to roast our coffee close to where our customers are.
Sure.
So we can deliver it fresh. Comes straight out of the roaster.
Yep.
And it gets packaged up and delivered the next day.
Wow.
Yep.
Soup to nuts. Like the milkman. You make it and get it out to them right away.
Exactly.
Okay. So do you serve the same coffee in each cafe?
Yeah, we have the same offerings in each cafe, but we rotate on a daily basis. And throughout the year, we rotate our coffees as well, as seasonal coffees come in from different origins.
Right, because part of the focus of the artisanal aspect of what you do is the seasonality, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Coffee is a crop, it's seasonal, it's not always growing, you know.
And the customers you have out here, they're like a different crew in each neighborhood, right?
Oh yeah, every neighborhood has its own personality.
Personality is the key, isn't it?
Absolutely, yep.
So you and I both spend a lot of time in Indonesia.
Indeed.
Yeah. What's your relationship like with, for example, the Sumatran farmers? I know you work with Ika. We do too.
Yep.
Irham and company.
Yep.
What's what's your relationship like?
Well, we visit them on a regular basis. We have direct communication with them. We understand how the crop is going every year. And we also work with them in order to work in a particular area within the cooperative.
Right.
So we have a specific coffee that we can offer our customers that's traceable to the region, to the area, to the producers, that is unique.
What's the name of the region?
It's Atulintang.
Atulintang,
Yep.
great. Yeah, I'm kind of partial to Indonesian coffee myself. It's frankly my favorite country in the world. Saya suka kopi dari Indonesia. enak sekali, don't you think?
Ya, saya juga suka kopi dari Indonesia.
Tentu saja. Okay, so it seems like you're trying to keep the artisanal experience by duplicating it in each of your locations. Is that your business model?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in order to be artisanal and to be focused on quality, you can't grow past a certain size where you lose touch with your product. It has to be hands-on, attention to detail, delivered fresh, delivered local.
And so, is that what keeps your customers satisfied?
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it.
Great.
Daniel invites me to his cupping. It's the coffee equivalent of a wine tasting. Breaking a thin layer of ground coffee crust unleashes the aroma of the magic potion within.
Well, shall I hazard a guess where these coffees are from?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, judging by the very smooth and soft aroma that's coming out, I would say these are like Peruvian or South American beans.
Yeah, you're right. Most of the coffees on the table, like I said, we're cupping them blind, but I happen to know where most of these are from, and we have some Colombians on the table.
Yep.
A Peruvian coffee on the table, one Costa Rican, and a Guatemalan.
Isn't it amazing how different parts of the world have such different profiles?
Oh, absolutely. You know, even within the same country or the same farm, you can get coffees that taste quite different from one another.
Right side of the hill, left side of the hill.
Exactly.
Great.
And now, time to taste the coffee.
So what are you picking up here?
I'm picking up a nice bright note, something like citrus or a ripe pineapple, sweet, syrupy.
Okay,
a little bit of milk chocolate underneath it.
Wow, you're going deep.
Yeah, there's many layers to it, I would say.
So at Cafe Vita, how do you know when someone's got the stuff to be a good cupper?
Well, you have to be really passionate about coffee for one. You know, you have to love to do it. And you have to be open to trying to express yourself with the coffee, to relate it to somebody else so we can all communicate what we like or don't like about the coffee. Not everyone's going to have the same taste.
Edwin Harrison set up the Artisan Coffee School to share his passion for coffee with baristas, owners, and enthusiasts alike. Having experienced the meticulous process of coffee cultivation in Uganda, his team is trained to ensure the original flavors are truly represented in every single cup that's sold. Edwin, tell me a little bit about Artisan Coffee, your wonderful coffee shop here.
We started about 3 years ago, dedicated to making some of the best coffee in London. And the shop we're in now is Ealing, and it has within it the Artisan Coffee School. This is our third shop. We felt that it was important to see how and why we'd been successful, and that was all about the training of our own baristas. So we wanted to give the general public the opportunity and baristas from around the world to learn about specialty coffee.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit more about the school. What can people learn here?
It's basically split into two. So there's the courses for the general public, those who are just passionate and interested about coffee, and they want to learn more about how they can make it at home. It also caters for the barista, the professional coffee maker, who can learn a huge amount about coffee in different diplomas, and they do that through the SCI accredited system, which is the Specialty Coffee Association of Europe.
How have people's attitudes and perceptions changed towards coffee?
I think over the last 5 years, people have been introduced to their first great coffee. And from that moment on, they start searching for it and looking for it. And they become much more aware of good coffee against bad coffee. So demanding it in the high street, and that's why you're seeing an explosion of independents, the ones that really care about the coffee they're producing.
And how do you see the future of these coffee houses, the Artisan Coffee House?
I think the future's really bright, because I think the more that you unravel coffee, the more you discover its complexities, the further you can go into it. So what we're trying to do now is educate the consumers and the baristas to make that perfect cup of coffee.
If you want to learn how to make that perfect cup of coffee at home, we've got a few handy tips for you. The grinder you use, the coffee you choose, even the water from the sink can alter the taste in the cup. Just a decade ago, the coffee home brewing industry was all about convenience, how to get a quick caffeine injection. These days, you can buy all kinds of machines and devices to enjoy your morning brew. Some require a serious outlay of cash, a little training, and even a little patience. Champion barista and author Tristan Stevenson shows me some of the most popular brewing methods available on the market.
One of the most important things, in fact the most important thing, when you're making coffee at home is choosing good quality fresh coffee. Nothing can beat that, and you can't repair a bad coffee by brewing coffee really, really well. It also means trying to avoid buying pre-ground coffee, because once coffee's ground up, it deteriorates really, really quickly. So I've got my coffee here. I'm going to pop it straight through the grinder. We're brewing for French press, so it's nice and coarse, really coarse chunks of coffee. And we're going to pop it straight in the pot there like that. The pot's also preheated, so we're not going to lose loads of temperature as soon as we put the water in. And we're brewing the French press with a ratio of 15 parts water to 1 part coffee. What I'm going to do is pour the water in there now, and what that does is every single time you're going to get the right level of extraction, the right intensity of coffee. If you were to press this down right now, you'd probably end up with a cup of coffee that's a little bit sour. So it's about getting that timing right so that we get a balanced cup at the end. It's been 3 or 4 minutes. What we're going to do now is press the pot down, but don't rush it too much. You don't want to unsettle the liquid that's in there and make it all kind of turbulent and cloudy. It should take about 10 seconds from start to finish. Pour some out for you, and you're going to get a nice body with that because it's French press.
Certainly smells good. Oh yeah, that's really nice. Not too bitter. That's just right on my tongue.
Next brewer we're going to use is an AeroPress. AeroPress, in my mind, bang for buck, is the best brewer you can buy. So we're going to add some coffee in there. This is ground a little bit finer than we ground for the French press. But one of the beauties of the AeroPress is you can use it like a French press with a really coarse grind, or you can use it with a much finer grind and a shorter brewing time. We've got a paper filter this is going to pass through, so I've already wet that with water just to take some of the paper taste out of it. What we'll do is we'll screw that on there like this. The AeroPress is actually made by the same company that make Frisbees, and they made it as a brewer that was designed to replace an espresso machine. It doesn't do that, but it makes really, really tasty coffee.
Great.
So I'm going to turn this upside down now, and then we're going to press this down slowly. It needs a lot more pressure than you'd find with a French press, because we're passing it through such a fine filter. We're also going to have a lot less of the sludge that you might encounter in a French press brewer. Right, so I'll pour you some out. You see, we've got a less muddy cup there. It's definitely a little bit clearer. Give that a go.
Fantastic. Oh yeah, quite a different taste, a little bit more acidic.
Going to brew drip coffee now by pouring water through a bed of coffee. This is going to work with gravity alone. There's no press or anything to force it down, so it takes a little bit longer. So we start just by wetting the grounds, and then we leave it to sit for a little bit so that the water has proper access to the center of those grounds and it can extract properly. There's really 3 things going on here: time, temperature, turbulence. How much that water's moving around that coffee. The more we move the coffee around, the faster it brews. These are often likened to kind of wines in the color that they come out, and you'll see it even more when we pour into the cup.
Very clear compared to the others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Enjoy.
Thank you. Different again. A very different taste, much more subtle. I quite like this one. Easy to drink, it seems.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about coffee. Being the democratic drink that it's become means that we all have our own take on how we want it sourced and how we like to drink it. American ideals served up in a caffeinated cup.
I like it black, but if I do put anything in it, I like putting a little bit of honey and coconut milk.
If I hear about a really amazing farmer that worked really hard to make a bean and the bean tastes good, I'm gonna like it a lot more than, something that someone just says like, oh, this is good because it's good.
A day without coffee is like a day without air.
I usually get just black drip coffee or lattes.
If it's early in the morning, I'm having a rough time, I prefer a shot in the dark.
Hi, Judith.
Hi, Dean. Thank you.
So, Judith, you and I have been on this incredible voyage around the world of coffee. And I'd like to ask you, what do you think has been a big impact on our societies from coffee?
Well, Dean, I think coffee has been democratized. Coming across the pond, it's become a drink for the everyman. And what about you, Dean? You have been a pioneer in this coffee industry for 20 years. Do you think coffee has changed America?
Yes, I think it has changed America. And America is always about change and reinvention. And it's really important right now because we're going through yet another motion of change. And that is that the artisan movement helps us see coffee not so much as a mass market commodity, than as a food. So I think there's a lot that's been done, but our coffee revolution is not finished yet.